Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus King Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, for a reality read. And we are focusing on Kandi. Kandi. I want to know if you feel it too. Oh, okay. Kandi from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Also was in the group Escape. Done wrote plenty of songs, child, all of the tanks. And her husband, aka estranged husband, I guess you could say, Todd Tucker. All right, so we're gonna get into some things. Without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the specificities of what I'm gonna cover in this here part of the video. Now, I'm gonna do my best, honey, to leave the link in the comments to the reading that I have already done on Kandi, and I covered some things concerning her and Todd's relationship. And so, if you want to know more about like about Kandi's higher self and lower self, the soul contracts of her and Todd Tucker, some other things that came out in that reading, according to the cards and the understanding of my gift, all right, and how all that works. Make sure that you get caught up on that video, and I'm gonna likely put them all in the same playlist. So, yeah. Now, in this part, I'm gonna be asking, well, I done already asked, but I'm gonna be channeling and reading off the cards from questions I asked. All right. So these first two cards that we got up here, I asked for the divine realm to show me the best and worst of Kandi at the conclusion of their marriage, meaning at the time of which they decided to bring their marriage to a conclusion and decide upon divorce. Now, the card to the left is representing the best of her at the conclusion of their marriage. The card to the right is representing the worst. Okay. Now, according to the cards, the best of Kandi at the conclusion of their marriage. We have the Empress in reverse. So this is given very heavily that Kandi was very detached from her feminine energy, specifically her divine feminine energy. Oh, child, it seems like in a lot of ways, this energy is very heavy. There is also high potential that, so I'm seeing a couple of things go on here really like at once and like in a domino effect. So I am seeing Kandi blatantly recognizing disconnects from her kids, her younger kids specifically. So like I said, Kandi and the Empress coming out in reverse and representing this, as well as again, this is supposed to be representing the best. I'm gonna just go ahead and say straight up, ain't really no best here. And this is not like to down talk Kandi overall. It's just given that it seems like her energy was very excessively misdirected and even depleted in certain ways. And this is given like a lot of time away and or out of the frequency of like femininity, nurturing, compassion, tender love, things of that nature. And so this is given like her noticing the impact of this hyper masculine energy that she's been operating in, showing up in her kids, and specifically showing up in how her kids act and react to her. The younger one specifically is how this is coming up. Another part that I'm seeing and sensing with this is it's given like the potential loss of someone or something like a child. And this could be, like I said, someone or something like a child. And on the thing part, this could even be like a project or something creative or something of the sort that could have not gone as she plans, or it fizzled out in the midst of production one way or another. This is given like the loss of something, be it a actual child or someone that was like a child to her, and or something like a project. I don't know if she's had any pets, but it could even be like a pet or someone else even who could have been like very very close to her that she considered like a child. Like I said, a project, something creative, something like that. This could even be someone that she may have considered a mentor, or someone that she may have considered like a maternal figure to her as well. And it could be like literal loss and or like loss of the connection, like bridges burning type shit. Plans not going through, like plans that she really held true to her heart and was like alchemizing type shit. Could have fell through, that type shit. Could be one or all of those things. That's what it was channeling through. So as we get into the worst, which is being represented by the Princess of Pentacles, you may notice that the girl on this card is also pregnant. um, so that like kind of reaffirms and confirms the messages that we're channeling through from the previous card. So again, ain't really no best here. It's a lot of loss. It's giving like a lot of loss one way or another. What's coming through with this Princess of Pentacles card as well, like I said, representing the worst of Kandi at the conclusion of her marriage to Todd. This is definitely being hyperfixated on money. It's representing the energy of being hyperfixated on money. The flowers that are on this card are also meant to be like symbolic of coins, as well as in this particular deck they're also symbolic of like the seasons. She also holds a big ass like coin disc in her hand, and I keep hearing guarded, 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 guarded. Candy being very guarded. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. It's giving lack mentality. So someone being very paranoid, greedy, even just very like money hungry, hyper fixated on money to the point of being like very paranoid that people are out to get them for just everything that they got. And I am hearing and picking up that this could also come from toxic feminine influences around her. And I'm not gonna lie, I will ask for confirmation when we get to that point. But this could very well be Candy's mother and or other feminine energies around Candy that predominantly operate in toxic feminine energy, and not only putting like bugs in her ear, but also like kind of acting out as like validation. You know how there's a manipulation tactic basically where people or someone will repeat the same thing over and over again. So for instance, they'll be like, "You gonna go to the store with me? You gonna go to the store with me?" And you can say no like 5 times, but they will consistently come back like you ain't said nothing and be like, "You gonna go to the store with me? You gonna go to the store with me?" Because they're planting seeds in your head. It's a tactic of, of manipulation, like I said, of them like low key, high key manifesting you, pressuring you, even manifesting you to just saying yes and going along with whatever their belief system, whatever they think ought to be the truth. So they'll sit up there and say that you gonna go to the store with me, you gonna go to the store with me until you believe yourself and agree that you gonna go to the store with them, and you end up going to the store with them, even though you really didn't want to do that. So all of that to say, it's been people constantly planting toxic feminine seeds in Candy's head that's been creating and validating paranoia in her about people being out to get her for just the cookies in her pocket and shit. And it's given that this has played a large role in the cracks of her marriage, entering and operating in this marriage in a guarded sense, going into the marriage automatically being on guard with the person who she's supposed to be a teammate with, saying she's supposed to be, taking leaps of faith. Um, with this person and such, but like entering on guard, entering paranoid, and then continuing to operate that way throughout the marriage is given like being so afraid that something will happen that you end up creating it, even if that's not the reality. You've like let that fear sit in your head for so long, and you've operated in that fear for so long that now no matter what the reality is, that's your reality. You can't see it no different. Even if something else is going on, you can't see it no different because that's how you've now programmed and allowed your belief system to be programmed type shit. So it's like someone entering the relationship with trust issues about their mate potentially cheating on them, and so like they just marinate on that and marinate on that and marinate on that, and the more they don't deal with that with themselves, even if like it's giving me it's giving me like the image of from White Chicks, the way that Marlon's character's wife was acting, like no matter what he did in her mind, he was cheating. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so you marinate on that and marinate on that to the point where, like I said, you program your belief system in that way. And now, no matter what is going on, no matter what is happening, it could completely not be what you think it is. But in your mind, that's what it is. It don't matter what nobody say. It don't matter, what that person say or what you end up saying and that shit. You gonna see it how you see it because that's how you set your belief system up. And that's also like the rhetoric of the people that you put more of your value into. So, child, that's what's coming up for that. We're gonna leave that right there for now. And we're gonna get on over to Todd's section. Oh, but before I get to that, one more thing that was channeling off of this Princess of Pentacles, and it's also like, again, it's giving the energy of also piggybacking off of the Empress card, the Empress in Reverse card. Is giving it to this operating in lack mentality, money chasing, this hyperfixation on money and getting and protecting the bag, coming from a place of paranoia. It's facilitated some sort of burnout. And this is what I'm picking up on, child. It's facilitated some form of burnout. And that's why, like, at this point, it's like really like heavy energy, like an anchor is tugging on it for dear life. And it's also like facilitated the major disconnect from the feminine energy, the divine feminine energy specifically and especially, which has facilitated and manifesting a domino effect of loss one way or another, however that is hitting. That's why that domino effect has been going on. And I'm hearing like infertile. And I'm not sure, and I'm not specifically saying that that is dealing specifically with her reproductive system or anything of the sort. According to the cards and the channeling and my understanding of my gifts and all of that, it is a possibility. But it could also be just, the loss of creative projects that she was really passionate about, as well as, like I said, I was picking up on the like feeling of loss of disconnect from her kids, loss of disconnect from certain maternal figures, and things of that nature. So yeah, now like I said, we're gonna go ahead and jump on over to your boy Todd and his schemes. Hey, child. So The cards to the upper right of them are representing the best of Todd at the conclusion of their marriage, and the card to the lower right is representing his worst, okay, the worst of him. And starting on off with the best of him, at the conclusion of their marriage, he is represented by the Star and the King of Wands. And I'm not gonna lie, that is very, 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 very interesting. And it is giving that for the most part, he was in a place of really good alignment at the conclusion of their marriage. Because if you don't know, Todd is a Leo, and so him getting the Star and the King of Wands, that's a really good sign on his part. The only thing is, it being sideways with the head going to the left is giving like negativity creating noise in his accomplishments, negativity creating noise in his thriving, in his alignment. I'm hearing a sense and people trying to bait him into fights, people trying to bait him into low vibrational activity. I literally just heard that in his voice. I literally just heard that in his voice. I can't make this shit up. I literally just heard that in his voice. Like, it's a low vibrational activity. Low vibrational activity. I'm fucking screaming. So very, very interesting there. So, like I said, it's giving the best of Todd at the conclusion of their marriage. You know, once they were deciding to go ahead and let it be broken, if you will. He was thriving for the most part, in alignment for the most part, feeling himself, is giving, coming upon a lot of accomplishments. It's also giving a very fertile energy here. And I'm picking up specifically fertile in like literally the creative sense. I'm hearing like production. And that word keep coming up, production, productivity, production, producing, things of that nature. So this could definitely have to do with like film, television, could be Broadway, theater. I'm also getting like music, could also have some music dealings and such. But it's giving too, especially with the star card. Todd is really like sowing some really fertile seeds that have been blooming some good fruits amongst like really feeling on his shit, really feeling like his creativity is booming, his discipline is booming, like his regimen been booming, like he just really been feeling here like in his element. The only thing has been, like I said, with these cards being sideways like this, and like what I keep hearing and sensing with it is people steady trying to pull him into shit. I'm also hearing people like trying to kick his cups over, like trying to throw salt in his game type shit, talking down on his shit, shooting his ideas down, things of that nature. Now getting on over to the worst in him, and very, very interesting that him and Kandi got similarly looking cards, and they're from the same suit. But Todd got the Eight of Pentacles, which is a creativity card, a harvest card, a production card. Okay, so again, that consistency and that parallel and that theme of that word keep coming through, and this thing of producing creative products, producing fruits. And you know, I literally made that phrase, producing fruits. So yeah. And this is really giving like not even this is representing the worst of him, but it's actually not bad. The negativity here. So this is reaffirming and confirming his being like really lucrative in producing fruits of his labor and his creativity, his creative ideas and things like that. All right. This is also though is sideways with the head to the right. So what I keep hearing is like overzealous. The potentiality of, okay, so what I'm hearing specifically is during Mercury retrograde, he likely signed some contracts without looking totally over. So if you don't know, there's like this thing. You can call it a superstition if you will. But competent people would tell you not to sign any like real important contracts during Mercury retrograde. One, because you may not read over it thoroughly for a multitude of reasons from the effects of everything that's going on, as well as quite a few people also from the effects of everything that's going on be extra with the trickery dickory dock. So this card here is giving like the potentials of having signed some deals that he didn't thoroughly read over, moving too fast, being overly excited, being overzealous, hasty type shit. Just like maybe feeling himself a little too much in certain cases. And so so it's giving he may have just and or may soon experience some sort of Five of Cups type situation where like at least two of his cups, what I just say, somebody was trying to knock his cups over, at least two of his cups might get knocked over and broken and all of that shit. And that's going to challenge him to basically clean up the mess, but also not get too lost in the sauce with that. And on the back end, fixate even more and pour even more into the three cups that still remain in good shape, okay, and good feeling. So, in a nutshell, it's given that at the conclusion of Kandi and Todd's marriage, you know, when they finally decided they was gonna let it go, It's giving they had like a seesaw thing going on where Kandi was hitting a lot of roadblocks, a lot of losses, a lot of burnout, infertile soil, and things of that nature. Todd started being on the up and up, producing lots of good fruit. All that shit, it just seemed like probably two or a few of them fruits gonna be rotting on one side or something like that. But it, you know what I'm saying, it ain't gonna be nothing he can't shake back from long as he allow himself to. Nah, as we proceed to give you R&B mother, because what you need and what you need is the next question and cards that get us at least at the beginning of the nitty gritty of the things, which is what had happened was, honey. What had happened was, why is y'all decide now that you wanna let it go? Not yeah. So the way I did this is also by like setting the intent to pay attention and take heed to the direction which the cards fell as they flipped out. And what I mean by that is which side they came out on. As you can see, I left Kandi and Todd's intro cards up there. All right. Now I'm gonna do some zooming in, so don't fret, baby. But I wanted to show y'all this real quick, right fast, because most of these cards came out on Todd's side. A lot of the cards are also with their heads turned towards Todd's side. Also, like it's certain cards, like you can see one has an arrow on it, you know, imagery on it where it's like people and things turned in certain directions. You feel me? So we're gonna take heed to all of that. We're taking heed to all of that. Now with these cards, these other cards over here, that is like more so in the middle. That's very like. So let me be clear. That's where they came at it. I left them right there. Ain't none of the cards come out on Kandi's side. Now I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know off rip the indication that I'm getting from it, which is what I'm picking up on. It is very likely that Todd initiated this breakup. And I am even sensing, and I'm not going to lie, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering correctly, this also correlates with the Leo, I think it was the Leo new moon reading that I did. And I believe it was like some Leo energy that I was picking up on, and that it was like some of them might just wake up one day and be like, I'm done with this, like whatever it is, if it's a job, relationship, staying in a certain place, a certain town, a certain city, state, all of that shit. Like it was giving like a lot of Leos was gonna be just waking up one day and waking up like, but no, for real, like waking up one day and just being like, all right, I'm gonna head out. And that's the vibe that I'm getting off of this layout. That's the vibe that it was given as the cards were flipping out. Like, even though, of course, there was a build up to it, the way it likely happened and played out on Kandi's end was that it seemed like Todd just woke up one day and was like, all right, I'm gonna head out. And in a way, that is the case. But we're gonna go ahead and get into the specificities of the cards now. Starting with the ones that came out the closest to his intro cards first. And boom, TikTok. So we are looking specifically at the peeping card and the crush card that came out sideways. And we're going to start with the crush card. So again, I asked, what had happened was, why did they decide to go ahead and say, we're going to let it go? So we got crush sideways with the head to the right. And it reads, I can't help but smile every time I think about you. And that card came out, like I said, with the head to the right. So what I'm picking up from this is Kandi started to become very attracted to Todd when she started seeing, you know, him coming up and all of this and that, and certain projects that he was doing, flourishing and doing well, and him being in his zone. But the reason why this is sideways is because a part of this also made her feel insecure, is what is coming up. That's what I'm channeling. That the more she became like attracted to him, the more she was like basically aroused and more adorning of him as she's seeing him operate in his zone and succeeding and all of these things, feeling himself. It kind of started to make her feel like in a way resentful of it all at the same time. Another side of this is, and it's gonna segue us on up to the peeping card. This is some other people having some crushes on Todd. Okay, Todd radiating a very attractive energy, some very attractive energy oozing off of Todd as they are witnessing him in his zone, in his element, in his motherfucking like bag. Okay, and so like I said, this is taking us up to the peeping card, which reads, let me talk about the numbers on here too. So this is the number 19 card. So we got 1, new beginnings, 9, endings. You put 1 and 9 together and you get 10, which is celebratory new beginnings. All right. So that's like more indication on like Todd having a lot of things to celebrate on some shit, a lot of shit flourishing, a lot of shit sprouting really good fruits from his labor. But now, other sides to that, let me get into reading what the card says. Maintains a facade and guard your privacy with care. Keeping secrets might protect you for a while, but they won't last. So, what I'm getting from this is Todd seeing and feeling and sensing a lot of stuff for a long ass time and not saying anything. Okay, so the people in this situation is also Todd, which I ain't gonna lie, that makes sense as we correlate the zodiac signs because one of Leo's quote unquote toxic love languages can be stalking, peeping, going through shit, rambling like a cat. Leo the lion. Lions are still cats. Cats go through your shit. Cats peep in on you. Cats be in your business. Cats over here, everything. You talk about a fly on the wall, honey. Mm-mm. You ain't seen a cat. Child, if cats could speak English, the things they would tell. And that's what this is giving. Okay, that's what's coming up off of here. That Todd has been peeping and listening and overhearing and honey, hearing a lot of things, people coming back to him with, news and stories and things of that nature. I'm hearing trying to ignore it at one point, but Todd, and I'm getting that this is like also just kind of a part of his nature in a way that like one of those people that's just always walking up on shit that people didn't want him to walk up on. Like, you know how they say you walk up on a conversation and people all of a sudden get quiet, they talking shit about you. Mm-hmm. It's giving some of that. So this card and like both of these cards, honestly, they got some layers going on here. And in a nutshell, Todd started radiating a lot of attractive energy once he started getting in his bag, like talking about from Kandi and from other people, and amongst attracting like some good energy, also attracting some darkness out of people, even people who were like claiming to clap for him. And that's also what a part of this like maintains a facade, guards your privacy with care. That is also from what I'm channeling, it's him peeping certain people like apply to him and admiring him, complimenting him and whatnot. And then it having like this underlying energy of jealousy, as well as on the back end, like backhanded compliments, as well as like on the back end, doing things to like chip away at his like solar plexus, chip away at his confidence. Like, oh, this was really good. But this little thing right here, that type shit. And that's another reason is what's coming up here. That's another reason why his best and worst of him cards, specifically the best of him cards, came out sideways, the Star and the King of Wands. That's another reason why it came out sideways, because people were like applauding for him and then taking shots at his sense of confidence and his self-esteem all at the same time. And so like creating this energy of confusion and creating this like thing of him in the midst of him like really, really feeling himself, also feeling, here comes another reoccurring word now, on guard, also feeling very on guard, but all the while peeping the scene and like maintaining his cool throughout all of it, doing his best to maintain his cool and his stability and just focus on his creativity and everything that he's been trying to create. And I'm hearing too that that's another reason why and how, he probably made some overzealous, hasty decisions in the midst as it concerns like business dealings and things like that, because he was trying very hard to block out the negativity and just focus on the good. Now we're gonna move on to the next card, child. Boom ticky. All right. So, and again, these are from Todd's side. It's the overall answers to when I asked what had happened was why they're divorcing. But like I said, it's taking heed to the fact that these flipped out on Todd's side. So, and intentionally taking heed from that is very much so the book from Todd's perspective as it concerns the cards that came out from his side, which is also why I said it's very likely the way that these came out that it's Todd who initiated the breakup, even though Kandi is the one who filed officially. Okay, so here we have Love Struck and we have Puppet in reverse. Okay, so with the Love Struck card, it reads, it's pretty obvious that you're into me. Ooh, child. And the Puppet card in reverse reads, I don't care what it takes, how long it takes, who I upset. I'm cutting the strings and taking back my life. Now, the reason why I'm taking some deep breaths on this is because, as jovial as I like to maintain the energy, I am picking up heartbreak here. So I'm going to just be straight up and rip the Band-Aid off as it seems like Todd did. So this is piggybacking off of those messages concerning Kandi starting to feel and experience more of an attraction and an appreciation for Todd once she seen him get into his bag and all of this and that and the third. And then there also being like resentment on the back end, and some sort of jealousy of some sort also on the back end. So this is pretty obvious that you're into me. That's Todd noticing that. This, I don't care what it takes, how long it takes, who I upset, I'm cutting the strings and taking back my life. That's like Todd basically. So, honey, what I keep hearing is too late, too late, too late, too late. Like I've been begging you to make space for me, make time for me, see me, hear me. You know what I'm saying? I've been waiting all of this time for you to truly show that you care and that you want me, that you want this, that you're attracted to me, and it's not just some like codependent benefits and just like allyship, business arrangement type shit. And now you feeling me like this here, and you want to be adorning and all of this, and now it's too late, and I don't feel the same. Like that guy that you're looking for, the love that I had for you, the effort, the will that I had trying to make this thing work, and romance you and all this other shit, like that shit gone now. And that's with this puppet in reverse, and that's also indicating too, with the puppet card coming out at all, that's also indicating that to some degree he felt puppeteered by Kandi, he felt on a leash by Kandi, as well as what I'm hearing is like put down, treated like a dog. And again, just steadily hearing too late, too late, too late, too late, too late, too late, too late. Unfortunate. And it is channeling the song Cry Me a River by Ella Fitzgerald. Like, now you say you are lonely. You cry the whole night through. Well, you can cry me a river. Cry me a river. I cried a river over you. And that is given, I'm even like hearing as that channel through. Like Todd is like, I've been begging you to not only make time for me, but also make the space for me to be able to be in my bag too, do what I'm creative about and passionate about too. You could have been feeling me like this. You could have been seeing me in this element. You could have been seeing me in this zone. You could have been seeing me. Tisk. So again, like that's another thing that's extra giving, that it's like Todd woke up one day and was like, it's over, I'm done. Like, and like the card says, I don't care what it takes, how long it takes, who I upset, I'm cutting the strings and taking back my life. Now, and these are the final cards that had come out on his side. And his best friend, and walls closing in reverse. Real quick, I'm gonna acknowledge the number from the previous card, Puppet, is 42. So 4 is the number of like manifestations. It's also a number of love and celebrations. 2 is a number of partnership, duality, and it's also a love number. And you put 4 and 2 together, you get 6, which is a number of reflections. It's also a number of children's and or childhood, inner child, things of that nature. So yeah, stuff to keep in mind and take heed to. So now, best friend, this is Todd giving that he has platonic feelings for Kandi. He feels like their connection is more platonic. At least that's what it has turned out to be. This card reads, I love that I can confide in you about anything. You've been so supportive, and I'm fortunate to have you in my life. Okay, so yeah, despite him feeling just done with the connection and over a lot of the habitual functionings that have gone on in their relationship, he still has love for her. He has just come to the realization that what they have is not, it's not like twin flame shit. It's not truly soulmates on that level. It's platonic. It's platonic. It's more like best friends. It's more like homies type shit. And again, like the card, what the card reads pretty much is self-explanatory as to like what I'm hearing from his side. Like, I love that I can confide in you about anything. You've been so supportive. Fortunate to have you in my life. And following up with that, and this kind of sort of jumping ahead a bit because it's channeling through here. It's another card that's gonna come up that ties with this one. But it's having to do with okay, let me focus right here first. So the extra channeling that I'm getting off this card is Todd feeling like he has been very inspired by Kandi, and he notices that like they really inspire each other. They do really good at bouncing ideas and things off of each other, but for some reason, whatever reason, they cannot soar with each other, and it seems like they can't soar at once with each other for whatever reason. And that's interesting because it's birds on this card, right? Nothing's a coincidence. And so I keep hearing too codependency. He feels like Kandi is very codependent, and he feels like he needs to re-individualize himself. Like he needs a lifestyle that will allow him to just like reestablish his wholeness. And I know a lot of y'all will probably be like, "What? Kandi codependent? She's independent." But no, I behoove you that in the way that this is coming up here, and Todd feeling like he's been on a leash, and like so what this is, and I keep hearing the song, I can't fly with one wing. Kandi, it seems like, and this is what's coming up, Kandi may have this thing where whenever she does something creative, she feels codependent, or like where she has to outline something, like ponder on something, or like come up with ideas for something, and or even working on creative projects and shit like that. It's like, it's coming up like she has this thing where she feels and operates like she needs to have him there as like a generator, as like a constant blackboard to throw ideas at. And if he's not there, like Velcro at her side whenever these types of things are going on, it's given that she acts very like whiny and codependent, like, oh, why you weren't there, why you had to be doing all of this and that, and those types of things. That's possessive, and it is codependent. And it's given like she probably hasn't always been like this, but it's given it like at a certain point, because of how well they, realize that they bounce ideas off of each other. It's like when you get a hint of something, you get a sample of something, and you're like, damn, that's good. You can't let that go. And so, again, and it's kind of bringing back up her intro cards, right? And that lack mentality that was coming through. People who have a lack mentality or operate in survival mode, when they get a taste of something that they haven't ever had and they really, really like it, they're so afraid to lose it that they will put it in a chokehold or, put it in a prison or try to take it out or, things like that. And it's giving like that type of energy, and I just keep hearing him feeling like he's on a leash, like he's in a chokehold, like he is constantly being held back. Like he come up with all of this stuff, and then it's like he just has to pigeonhole it and put all of his eggs in this one basket, which is Kandi, when it can be so many other people and things that he can be, using his creativity for, being fruitful. There's that word again, being fruitful and multiplying type shit, and feeling like the way Kandi has like kind of gotten codependent on always having him right there in the passenger seat, operating as her blackboard, her personal blackboard type shit, or her personal canvas, if you will. It's like that's become draining. That's become overwhelming. And so again, that correlates with the other card, walls closing in. The walls closing in, and it came out in reverse, but it coming out at all that says something. And the reason why it's come out in reverse is because, again, this is about why they've decided to end the marriage. And of course, perspective wise, this is coming from Todd's side, so it's given that like he felt them walls closing in. He's getting claustrophobic, and he like, he had to flip that shit on his head, open up the window, honey, let the light in. So we have a good old number 6 once again. Where you see it at, it's the number 15 on the card. We've got the number 1 there, we just discussed it, and the number 5, which is a number of drastic change, and it is also a number of balance. Keep that word in mind, right? Okay, and you put those numbers together, and you get the number 6. This card reads off in reverse. Our backgrounds may be worlds apart, but our hearts remain aligned, breaking the walls that try to keep us apart. Even when the world sees the walls, we find a way to stay united, choosing love over division. Okay, and so this is from the perspective of Todd feeling like this is also to save him and Kandi's bond one way or another. And it's also coming up like kind of like, in a way, testing the bond, testing their relationship, seeing, what the depths of the reality is. And him having it in his mind like, if their bond can survive one way or another, separation or divorce, or even the topic of divorce being a reality, then that would truly paint the clear picture as to who they truly are to each other and what their bond truly means. Very, very interesting, child. And now here we are in the section where the cards came out in the middle. Like I said, none of the cards came out solely on Kandi's side, only predominantly on Todd's side, and there's some in the middle. So taking heed to that is indication of like mutual perspective here. Now we got balance, which reads, I love how well we complement each other and balance each other out. So simply stated, that is indication on a mutual feeling that the two of them have about each other. Like, despite coming to the conclusion of ending the marriage, there's still this desire to maintain the bond one way or another, because they do feel like in a lot of ways they balance each other out. The reason why this is sideways and with the head to the right is because there's a bittersweetness that, as far as how they feel like their relationship is supposed to go, like a romantic relationship, if you will, is supposed to go, it's like it's lacking passion. So it comes off as hyper civilized. It feels a little too balanced. And this is not necessarily from the perspective of them like wanting their relationship to be toxic or anything. It's just about, like I said, they inspire each other quite a bit, but there's still a certain level of passion that is missing between them that comes off as a, like, I don't want to say bad omen, but in a way it's like it comes off as a sign that they're holding each other back from truly connecting with other people or some other person that they would actually have that passionate twin flame soulmate, romantic type of bond with. And it's also those indications where going back to some messages that I already came up, but like clarifying and filling in the blanks where the relationship seesaws, where it's like when Todd is really into Kandi, it's like Candy's attention is elsewhere. And then when Kandi is really into Todd, Todd's attention is now elsewhere. When Kandi is low, Todd is rising. When Todd is low, Kandi is rising. And one or both of them can't seem to, and I'm not gonna lie, y'all, it's coming off like it's Kandi that has a hard time processing Todd being on his shit. It's like she likes it, she wants that, but she resents it at the same time. And I'm picking up like passive aggressive, like doing passive aggressive shit in the meantime, in between time to like try to cut him down. I'm hearing like, I don't want you to think you too good. I don't want you to think that, I don't want you to be feeling yourself too much. Because it's coming off like she's afraid of what that means. She's afraid of like if he starts to feel himself, if he really sees himself for his own greatness, will that make him be mean to me or cheat on me or feel like he can do better than me type shit. And a lot of people struggle with that mentality, to be honest. That's not an uncommon mentality. And sometimes it is mindless, sometimes it's mindful. But we'll see about asking some confirmation and clarification cards about that. But that's how it is coming off, too grounded. And it's reinstating like those things that was coming up on Todd's end about feeling on a leash. And the next card we have here is Honor in reverse. And we got the number 1, the number 3. Number 3 is the number of purpose, also the number of creation. All right, now, so it reads, and this is Honor in reverse once again, and it reads, you've helped me realize that my ambition is not bound by what others expect. Together, we can reach heights I never thought possible. Our connection empowers me to step out of the box I placed myself in and to dream without limits. So, child, I really don't even have to stay on this one too long because it's another, like, confirmation and elaboration on a lot of the messages that I've already said and that I just said again, which is this thing of them feeling heavily inspired by each other, but not like they can do it together, not like they can soar together at the same time. It's steadily coming off like it's only room for one of them to be at the top. And so it coming off that way, because in general, it may not be true that only one of them can be successful at once. But something about the way one or both of them operates in the relationship, it makes it so only one of them can be successful at a time. And based on how the rest of the messages have come out all up to this point, it gives that Todd has felt Kandi really don't like sharing the throne. She really don't like sharing the spotlight. She doesn't like sharing the breadwinner title, the boss title, that type shit. It's given that she doesn't like to share a whole lot. And so even though they inspire each other a hell of a lot, they're able to bounce ideas off of each other, like talking about, it's coming off like Todd has felt Kandi really don't want to share the spotlight. She really don't want to share the credit for real, as much as she, gets aroused and things of that nature by him being in his bag and feeling himself. At the same time, she can't take it because she feels threatened by him elevating. I know a lot of y'all probably gonna think that sound crazy and you don't want to see Kandi like that, honey, but that's how it's coming up. So we're gonna move on to the next cards that are in this layout, which will be the final cards for this particular video because I'm going to, do multiple parts for this. And for the final cards that we have for the what had happened was, and this is coming specifically from like the mutual section going on here, we have the Tower card, as well as the Princess of Wands in reverse, the Fool right side up, and the Four of Swords in reverse. So simply stated, honey, we are dealing with the walls come tumbling down. It's a lot of fussing and fighting. It's giving chaos going on. And pay attention to the direction of the cards, right? The Princess of Wands is in reverse and her body is facing towards the Fool. Remember that Todd is a Leo. The Fool is a Leo card. And the shadow side to Leo is the Fool, the trickster, the Joker. Okay, so what I'm picking up going on here, this is calling back to what I was saying about some things going on where it's like people were trying to, and or have been trying to bait Todd into arguments and fights and chaos and things of that nature. So to some degree, this is indication, and how it's coming up and being presented to me, the way it's channeling through to me, is Kandi is that Princess of Wands in reverse, which is giving snapping off, lashing out, starting fights, saying the wrong shit out your mouth and being quite it's given again that term passive aggressive, some passive aggressive, very aggressive acts that cut at the knees. Even if you look at the positioning of the cards with the Princess of Wands being in reverse, her positioning kind of meets like at the knees of the person that is on the Fool. And that positioning is matching the energy. It's like she's attacking him from the root up, pulling the rug from beneath his feet, cutting him off at the ankles, cutting him off at the knees. If you also look deeper at the imagery of the fool as well, he is surrounded by things that are out to get him, as well as things that are protecting and providing for him all at the same time, which give further indication and some confirmation and elaboration, allegedly, but according to the way that it's channeling through in the cards and my understanding and competency of my gifts and all of that, is, self-explanatory at this point. And then we have the Four of Swords in reverse. And you may not be able to see that exactly, but that card is labeled truce. And so, like I said, it's in reverse, which indicates the opposite of that. So this is like gloves are off, squad up, catch me outside. But not like literally like physically fighting. I hope not. But it's giving both people saying, fuck it, like what you want to do. And so essentially it's giving like all that like poking and poking and poking and poking and poking is given that at some point Todd start clapping back. One way or another, Todd start clapping back, and it all came to an inevitable head, which also ties back to the Tower card and the inevitability of this whole fallout. It's indicating inevitability of this whole fallout. This is something that has been building up and building up and building up and building up since day one. Tisk. And so that is it, and that is all for this particular part. And then the next part, we'll get into some more clarification and confirmation questions and cards and such. We will ask more about like some of the rumors that's been going on, as well as I'm going to take heed to what came out in this reading and, see how things match up and or don't. All that good shit. We're going to ask about like the roots to the situation, intent, where is their soul contract at now, and all of that, okay? So like I said, the next part will just be getting deeper into the cricks and crannies of the things. As well as, it may not be the next part, it may be the third part, but I will, ask some questions about how will it turn out, who will get what, all of that. I'll ask about the prenup. So yeah, just stay tuned. Also, I may end up, before I get to the next part concerning Kandi and Todd, I may end up doing Kandi and Wendy first, as in Kandi and Wendy from Potomac. Okay, if you don't know, child, exactly what I'm referring to, you got to tune in to the most previous reading that I did about Wendy and Eddie, but specifically about Wendy and her case, about her aliases, her degrees, child, and some things about Kandi had ended up channeling through. And so I try to make sure that I leave the link to that video in the comment section as well. But with all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this cow dry, and I am thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quotas for the next time. And be sure to bless that comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways like love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.